jump into it. It's game one of our semifinal match of the 250th YCS here in LA. I don't know if we got to see the die roll, if they have started the die roll just yet.
They're just having a bit of a conversation with the table judge.
So, tell me, Tom, the start of the weekend, if I were to tell you top four is going to have 3 different decks, what would you think those 3 different decks would have been?
I honestly thought it was going to be Sprites. I thought it was going to be Kashtira, and I was actually kind of maybe hoping for Branded.
Me too. So you could have got one of the 3 right, but I'll tell you, I did not have Floowandeereze on my radar at all to make it to the top 4, especially with other decks like Mathmech running around. We just saw the Rika Sun Avalon deck almost make it all the way here as well. But Floowandeereze was probably off the radar for a lot of duelists going into this weekend. Do you think that might have led to Jacob's success here?
I think there's a good chance of that. A lot of people probably not even accounting for that, even in the side deck.
Indeed.
And that definitely makes it, the underdog match to maybe spring up all of a sudden.
And it looks like we are finally going to roll the dice. It looks like 2 5s from Jesse. That's a 10. Next up, it's going to be a 9. Nines lose. Nines lose. They always lose. You don't ever want to roll a 9. And now Jesse is going to be able to go first and get his Naturia Runick strategy online. So draws the 5 with those beautiful sleeves. In top 16, all the players did have to switch to these awesome World Championship qualifier sleeves.
And 55 minutes on the clock. Here we go.
The time has started. We are in the semifinals. The winner of this will face the winner of Polly and Chumping. Neither of these players are a YCS champion, but they will be facing against the YCS champion in the finals.
Now that's a lot of pressure.
It is. But it's not about who you're facing. You're still playing that same great game of Yu-Gi-Oh! You got to focus on the game at hand. Now Jesse's starting things off with Naturia Camellia. That's going to allow him to send a Naturia card from the deck to the graveyard. Looks like he's taking them into considered options, not just an instant send of the Sacred Tree.
Yeah, maybe, or he already has a couple of options in hand. Maybe he opened maybe a couple of... I did not get a glance at the hands. Jacob finally picking up his cards, taking a quick peek at it. And the decision has been made. Well, the Sacred Tree is right at the bottom. He's not sending it. Is he going to go for the Mole Cricket instead?
He might be considering his options. We see at the bottom, Jesse defeated Hisam in the top 4. And Hisam was the one who knocked Jesse Cotton out of the tournament, actually, as well. So it could have been a Jesse versus Jesse match, but it ended up being Hisam versus Jesse, and then Jesse taking over Hisam. Mm-hmm. That's Hani's brother, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, is it?
It is. It's Hani's brother. I know he loves it when I say that.
So we are going to see the Sacred Tree sent to the graveyard, and we're going to add a blessing into hand.
Sacred Tree, pretty versatile, allowing to add that blessing. Blessing lets him special summon a tree from the graveyard or the hand. Looks like he's going to activate Foolish Burial Goods next. Let's see if he sends another copy of Naturia Sacred Tree.
Tree to tree, it's just growing a lot of spell cards. Or is it going to grow into
Mole Cricket?
Mole Cricket.
Maybe he needed that Naturia monster to be able to special summon with the blessing. Looks like Jacob wants to take a moment to make sure he knows all the effects of Mole Cricket. It does have a couple that you want to make sure you keep tabs on.
It doesn't hurt to double check, even if you assume you already know.
Oh, I never feel bad about reading my opponent's cards, ever. Just want to make sure nothing catches you off guard.
We're going to see
Runick
Fountain.
That's a good one. Looks like a collector rare Runick Fountain at that. Next up, he's going to activate, looks like...
Flashing Fire.
Flashing Fire, going to special summon a Runick monster from the extract to the field. It's Hugin.
Chain link 1 Fountain, chain link 2 Hugin.
Okay, so he's just going to use the Fountain here for 1, and Hugin's going to discard the Mole Cricket.
I mean, that doesn't really matter in terms of what we discard here. You can just special summon it back with the blessing you just added.
True.
And or even if it stays in the graveyard, it doesn't mean it's going to stick there.
Yeah, if your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck, it can just jump right back onto the field.
I've got a second Fountain added to the hand.
Let's see, if he draws into something like Runick Tip, that could be pretty big here.
But this is only for 1 card draw now.
That's why this draw is so big. He's looking for the Runick tip. And, all right. He draws one. Let's see if he replaces that fountain with another copy of Runick Fountain.
So we do have a tuner on the field and another level 2 that could go into a level 6.
Yeah, so if he has another Runick spell, he could go into Coral Dragon, use the Runick spell to spell summon a level 4, and then synchro into Baron and draw a card from the Coral Dragon.
We're seeing the blessing activated, special summoning back the Mole Cricket.
Now he has Mole Cricket and Camilla on the field. That is a 1-2 punch. The Mole Cricket normally lets you tribute itself to special summon an Etruria monster from the deck. But since the Camellia will let him mill instead of tributing, he's going to mill 2 Runick spells.
That's so good.
If he has one more Runick spell in his hand, he is in such good shape now because of those cards that he sent from the deck to the graveyard.
Now we have to consider what we're going to summon up because we are resolving the effect of Mole Cricket. Likely another Camellia.
This is a good start here from Jesse.
There has been nothing activated on Jacob's side, so we're going to see how he's going to attempt to approach whatever that's going to be built here. I believe we're going to start off with a Synchro Summon here, level 6.
It is Stardust Charge Warrior. Since he does have the Camellia, that's going to be a tuner, so he's not going to want to go for the Coral Dragon. That's kind of like your flex options. Like, if you have the Runick spell to get to level 4, you go for the Coral Dragon because it's a tuner. If you have the Camellia, you can go for the Stardust Charge Warrior because the Camellia is the tuner. But either way, you're getting a Baron to Floor.
And there is a Runick spell. That is Smashing Storm.
This is really showing...
Smiting Storm.
Smiting Storm. But this is really showing the synergy of the 2 decks. He didn't send those 2 cards in the top deck of his graveyard. He wouldn't have these 3 Runick spells to put into the bottom of his deck and draw 3 more cards. This is literally a pot of greed from the cards he sent from the Camellia. Fantastic start for Jesse Flores.
And we do have the Runick Fountain in the graveyard and the 3 Runick Quick Play spells. That's going to do a bit of a 1-2. Add back the Fountain and draw 3 cards again. Or not again, but for this time, the second Fountain.
1, 2, 3. The slowest draws I've ever seen. I'm usually excited to draw 3 cards. I don't normally draw them one at a time. Maybe on the anticipation, like, oh, maybe this next one's going to be the good one. Takes it slow.
Wait, this deck draws so many cards.
It really, he's already drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this turn. Yep.
Now we have a Charge Warrior. That's not a tuner. We have a Camellia. That could be the option for the Synchro 10.
Is happening. Here comes Baron de Fleur.
Okay. Now, is there a different 5 that we can go into with a... There's nothing we can go into here.
Nope, he's just going to probably leave the Mole Cricket up.
Yeah, the Mole Cricket is not a tuner. And Baron's going to attempt to destroy his own card.
Probably a Sacred Tree. It is. So he must have drawn this off the Runick Fountain because I don't think he discarded Sacred Tree with the Hugin earlier. So this is something he drew into later on in the turn. But now going to be able to trade a Sacred Tree, whose on-field effect not as useful as when it is sent to the graveyard, and swap that out for an Etruria Blessing. So he's going to be able to keep on going if he so chooses.
We're going to see if he's going to choose to continue to Synchro. Maybe that opens up the option for Etruria Beast as well.
That would be huge. Beast plus Baron de Fleur versus Floowandeereze matchup could spell disaster.
Well, the Camellia is back on the field. We are seeing a Synchro 5. And that's going to also
monsters.
And that's also going to bring back the Mole Cricket.
Wow, what a start here from Jesse. Time to draw good is in the semifinals. Yeah, making sure he knows that the Mole Cricket does have an effect while it's in the graveyard.
Yeah, it's when you special summon out a Etruria Synchro monster, it gets to summon itself out. Or if when your opponent special summons a monster from their extra deck,
jumps right back in.
It's ready to feed.
The Etruria monsters always look so cool and deceptively simple. They're like, oh, we're just little nice beasts and dragons, but then they're just quite powerful, like Rose Whip or it's a sunflower, but it's going to just stop you from being able to do anything. So the Etruria Beast, Baron de Fleur, Mole Cricket, plus the Runick Fountain face up. Let's see how Jacob's going to be able to answer this. The Beast might cause him problems unless maybe he has something like Infinite Impermanence. He's going to need a combination of cards to force out the Baron negate and then have something to wipe the board. He does have, this is step 1. He goes for infinite permanence. Will this be blocked by the Baron to Floor?
Yes, the Baron is going to negate that. I think it's absolutely worth it. I mean, Beast definitely having multiple negation attachment versus the one on the Baron.
But now, does he have the evenly matched? And no, but he doesn't. He's just going to concede. It looks like this is continuing from the last time we featured Jacob. I'm pretty sure the only card he had last time was infinite impermanence that really didn't do anything. So he activates the imperm, negated, and that's a concession. Jesse opening up strong here against Jacob's Floowandeereze strategy. And now he's just one game win away from making the finals of the 250th YCS here in Los Angeles.
I don't
Incredible.
know if Jacob's having a bit of a feature match curse here.
This is 3 games now in a row. We haven't seen a single Floowandeereze from him.
But
he's here.
Yeah, yet when he's off camera, right?
I want to see these birds fly. Let me see a Robina Chain Link 1, Eagle Chain Link 2, you know? Let me check that out. But let's go ahead and get a live look into our written feature on the other side. It looks like Ollie has a full board. This graphic's kind of blocking Shu Ping's field, but it doesn't look like he has much going on for him. He has a Birth on the field with an Arise Heart.
But does he? He has a Runick Fountain on the field, on the zone.
Oh, okay. Shu Ping's left-handed, so the board is flipped. So I didn't even notice that Runick Fountain out there. These are 2 YCS champions going at it.
They're just taking damage. I just saw the pen started to be picked up there.
It looked like they were just in the middle of a game. It didn't look like anyone really had a straight lead for each other, but we still have, that was a quick game 1. We still have 44 minutes, basically 45 minutes on the clock for this matchup. But going into the side decks, what cards do you put in going first against Naturia? I mean, I know you were saying cards like Dimension Shifter could be good against something like the Naturia Runick deck, but in a card you might expect in a Floowandeereze deck too, because that used to be their classic starter. I'm going to activate Dimension Shifter, but I don't know if he's using it here this weekend.
I mean, it is the one card that you can use that doesn't affect yourself. It's a bit of a classic play for them, but back then there was more T elements. So against Naturia, opening up strong, maybe blocking off ways for the Camilla to send the cards into the graveyard.
Harpy's Featherstorm is a strong trap card that they always use in the past.
I think that is probably one of their favorite cards to use, to be honest.
It feels bad when it happens to you. It's like, I can't use any of my monster effects next to these silly little birds.
But we're going to have to draw into those. Those are not accessible normally.
Unless that's what I like about it. You can just tech it in Sword Soul, right? Because you could synchro for the Cyber / Harpy.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you could still use the Harpy's Featherstorm with that strategy.
And you can use it from your hand.
Yeah, it's so cool because it's a Harpy's monster.
Yeah,
right?
Keep it hidden.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite trap cards of recent history. But now the duels have side decked and they're shuffling up. Jesse going second. I don't know if he knows what he's playing against. He did just see an infinite permanence. He might not know, but usually the rumors are flying around that, oh, there's a bird in here. Like, I mean, you probably heard him chirping somewhere around him in one of the previous top cut rounds.
I mean, hopefully his wings don't get clipped on this round. But there are options here. I think Drone Lockbird's also very strong against Naturia Runick. Tons of searches, tons of draws.
Sacred Tree all day.
Yeah, exactly. Being able to cut off that particular line is going to be one of the more important things to do. But going first, but do you want your opening board building pieces, or do you want to just stop your opponent? That's a decision to make.
I feel like from the past games we've seen Jacob on the stream, he just wants to get a Robina to touchdown. Just like he even had a pot of duality in that last feature match and just didn't get there at all. But I mean, that's always been one of the downsides of Floowandeereze. Obviously, his cards like Floowandeereze and the advent of Adventure coming out have made it more consistent, but if you can't access those cards, there's really nothing you can do.
I think for that last game, that Naturia Beast might have played a role in the downfall. We didn't really get a chance to see his hand. If the Naturia Beast just stayed on the field and it was just a bunch of spell cards, dualities, it's not possible. Perhaps he was holding that duality he wanted to activate.
But he can't because he had the Naturia Beast just shutting down everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hopefully now he's going first. Let's hope he doesn't draw a hand that doesn't have any birds in it, but I can only hope that, let me see a Floowandeereze in the map. I want to see some action. I want to see Snow touch down and see 3 normal summons in one turn. But let's see if that will happen here in game number 2 of this late night Yu-Gi-Oh! At the 250th YCS.
Things are getting really close. Yeah, I believe the hands are drawn.
Time to duel. Let's get this second game started.
All right.
Come on. Give me a Floowandeereze. Give me a bird.
Show me the Rubina.
Show me the... Okay, unexplored wins. That's going to let him put back some winged beasts from his hands.
Oh,
and
I don't know
draw
if I want to
into
see
monsters.
that. I don't know if I want to see that as the first card to play. I mean,
It means there's going to be no Pot of Prosperity this turn if he does in fact play it, but just it's usually this is just a mulligan effect where you're able to put some winged beasts back into your deck and draw some new cards. It also lets you tribute your opponent's cards.
in fact, it's not even a tribute. It's just a send.
Oh, it just sends
It just sends it.
But you can
Actually,
go after their spells and traps even.
that's right, and you can even get rid of a card like Mask of Restrict.
He had Ash Blossom for the mulligan. He's hoping to keep him with nothing, but he's going to start with Eaglin. This could be enough if he has any other Floowandeereze that he's able to activate in his hand, like Stree. He could summon Floowandeereze and Stree, banish to Ash Blossom.
Yep.
If he's going to add Floowandeereze and Impen, now it's going to be...
Now, one thing interesting about his deck, he doesn't even run an extra deck at all.
Oh, yeah. Do you know why? Have you have any clue why they're doing that?
Enlightened.
No, I thought maybe you would, but yeah, I'll tell you. It's because of Kashtira. If you don't have an extra deck at all, they can't de-abolish you. They can't lock you out of your zone. So while you're giving up the extra deck, so you're giving up cards like Pot of Extravagance. Oh, yeah. Definitely not playing Pot of Prosperity. There is no extra deck.
Exactly.
But you definitely get a little more advantage when you're playing into Kashtira because you just lock them out of doing anything, and yet again, not being able to continue on.
Oh, my.
At least he played more cards than last time.
He did. M-Pen is available.
He could have
But the set card, if there is
a Dreaming Town.
Dreaming Town, maybe there is additional ways to push through. Maybe
Some level 4 that he didn't summon on the last turn. It's going to be tough. He's going to need a good set card, and Jesse's going to start with Runick Tip.
If there's a drone locker, he might get the turn back.
True. Maybe he has some sort of defensive option from the hand here to slow Jesse down. Oh, he's going to use Runick Tip instead of to add, do special summon from his extra deck, it looks like.
That's a very interesting way. Maybe playing around the droll.
Play around the droll or telegraphing that he just doesn't have any other runic spell in his hand potentially, but he's going to use Hugin to discard Sacred Tree to try and add Fountain.
Ooh.
Talking about a good way to get another turn, Tom.
Harpy's Featherstorm, that's going to shut down that Hugin and all the activated monster effects for the rest of the turn.
We were talking about how powerful that card can be, and now it might be enough because now that he has the Eagland, he still has the unexplored winds face up on the field. That's going to let him reuse to shuffle back some of those monsters and draw into new cards. This could be the opening that Jacob needs to get back into this duel.
But I also think that he's going to need to draw a really good card, considering that he did not drop any other level 1 birds.
True. He's going to have a few draws to do it, but now Jesse's going to have to navigate the rest of his turn without monster effects.
So Camilla is down. Most of the other cards are down.
And since he led with the Runick Tip to special summon, I don't know if he has another Runick spell in his hand. Yeah, double checking what this card does.
Potentially there are other monsters in hand that are high level. I mean, we know the Empen is there. There's potential. There's a potential that he's going to put the Empen back and maybe aim to draw into Rabina.
Yep, I think that will be the case on the following turn. All right, so he's going to use that Sacred Tree that he discarded with Hugin to add Naturia Blessing.
Now, just because you don't have effects this turn doesn't mean you don't have quick effects for your opponent's turn. Let's see if this is how it's going to play out.
Jesse definitely put in a tough spot. It's going to summon Naturia Mole Cricket.
Speaking of the quick effects during your opponent's turn.
Sets 2 cards face down to the spell and trap card zone and passes. So the Featherstorm is going to end the turn.
Very good stuff. Very good stuff here. Now, we're going to wonder if we're going to stay in the standby phase because remember, Mole Cricket only activates during the main phase. So it does. You do have an opportunity to clear off that monster if you don't need to advance the phases so quickly.
Or he could just catch him off guard. Yeah, it looks he's going to catch him off guard, tribute the Mole Cricket before he can do anything with the Floowandeereze, or send it as a tribute cost for Impin. So he's going to be able to go Chainlink 1 Impin, Chainlink 2 Eaglin to add Eaglin back to the hand.
This is so good.
And Impin's going to be looking to add a Floowandeereze Spell and Trap from the deck. Is one of these Spell and Trap cards that Jesse has going to be able to stop Impin? Nope, he gets the thumbs up, and it's all good on Jesse's side.
We're finally seeing
Jacob
Jacob play cards.
Yay! Let's go Floowandeereze.
And, you know,
fly high.
Leaving the unexplored winds on the field is one of the most dangerous things you can do.
It's such a good card.
It is really good. You're nothing is safe. It's literally telling you nothing is safe, and I don't need.
He's going to be able to continue to send his opponent's cards to the graveyard for more tribute summons as long as he has them.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult scenario.
And this Eaglin's going to be coming out as Impin resolves, so he's definitely going to have at least one more.
We're going to see if the 2 cards in the back row is going to have any impact for this. Let's hope that there is. Otherwise, this is going to be a whole board wipe.
Yeah, Jacob's looking good this game. I mean, there's no fountain on Jesse's side. Like, he just really has nothing going for him. He just has that Hugin in defense mode. It looks like the Impin's going to add Floowandeereze in the map of adventure. Magnificent map.
Magnificent
sorry.
map.
I always get an Advent of Adventure, magnificent map. Yep.
I mean, they're just flying around the world, meeting different birds.
It's just Floowandeereze is all these are all the other birds he's met along his travels, and it's Snarl. Floowandeereze and Snarl is going to be tribute summoned, so this is going to let him summon an additional time, up to 3 normal summons for the turn.
That's not the only effect on that card.
Oh, it also has that defensive option.
Yeah, you can. I believe you can flip all the monsters face down on the opposing field.
Really cool card. Didn't see a lot of play in the beginning, but now that they've lost stuff like the Wind Barrier, Statue of Stormwinds, maybe a pretty good option. And he's tributing his opponent's Naturia Blessing or sending it to the graveyard for the tribute for it to summon. And
this is something that you don't have a timing to respond with either. It's very, very difficult. You have to preemptively activate your cards for these things.
Now here comes the map.
We know there's an Eaglin.
Yep, so he's going to be able... Oh, he also has the Advent of Adventure as well. Things are looking good here for Jacob. His hopes are soaring high into the sky. So he's going to map Banish Eaglin, but he has the Ash Blossom. So he might stop him here. That's a pretty good Ash Blossom. I wonder if he just should have used the map first and then see if that could have baited out the Ash Blossom and then followed up with Advent of Adventure. Maybe he did activate the map and chain the Advent of Adventure. I couldn't tell.
Ooh.
So I think this just does stop.
It's just stop a lot.
In the track. So now he's just sitting on that Snell. Still not having... Where is Robina? It has to be somewhere in his deck.
I see here there should be 3.
Okay, good. He remembered to include him in his Floowandeereze deck that took him all the way to top 4. I'm sure every other game he's been seeing it. But sometimes that's... I mean, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! You just have to deal with the cards that you're dealt. Looks like he was going to use that extra summon.
Are we using the effect...
Or to shuffle back.
Shuffle back. What...
All right.
I'm so sorry.
Do you have to reveal the card?
Yeah. I was like,
That's
does he know what it is? Oh, it's a Mega Ryza.
Mega Ryza.
So he gets to draw one new one. Is it the Robina? Normal summon Robina?
It is! Oh, finally!
Off
touchdown!
Off the top. Jacob has been dying. He's been looking for this Robina up high and low, and finally it makes an appearance and descends onto the field, and it's going to allow him to add another Floowandeereze monster from his deck to his hand, and then
the monsters
additional normal summon.
And the monsters on the field and the spell and trap on the field is not even safe.
It's not, but he's going to go for an Eaglin, and I believe he already used... Did he summon? No, he hasn't summoned Eaglin yet.
No, he has not. It started off with an M-Pen.
That's right. He used the effect to add the Eaglin to hand, but then banished the Eaglin from hand for the map, so now he's going to be able to still summon Eaglin, I believe. Maybe not. Maybe he did use the Eaglin. If he's not summoning it here, he definitely used it already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe that's how he got the Snarl. But it's okay. Robina's going to take down Hugin, it looks like, and Hugin's effect's going to put it back into the extra deck when it's destroyed. Snarl's going to connect directly.
Is Jesse Fuller's top deck? Oh, I think he is. He had multiple Ashes and couldn't play out his turn. The Mole Cricket also got sent to the graveyard. What was just drawn just
It was a Naturia Camellia, so maybe something here. But if he happens to normal summon it, that's going to trigger that map, which is going to summon the Eaglin from hand, which is going to add another monster that he will be able to tribute Jesse's cards off the field. So Jesse's still in a tough spot. We might be seeing a game number 3 here in our semifinal match.
I think everything is just waiting for the one action moving forward. Or did he just set a card?
I think they might be talking to the judge for a second. Let's see what Jesse's last face down card is. Is it something that's going to be able to deal with the map face up on the field?
It's a tip.
So he had 2 Runick tips. That explains why he used it to special summon last time.
Tip is okay. Now, banishing cards for Floowandeereze deck might not be the best thing possible. A lot of these birds, they can just be added back to hand when you summon out one of your winged beasts onto the field.
That is very true. Yeah, kind of a Nambo banishing those Floowandeereze monsters face up into that banish zone. Looks like he's going for destruction, I believe.
And there is a bird. That's Stree. the best point.
He's going to go for destruction to go after the map. He has to get rid of that map
Yes.
so he can summon this Naturia Camellia. Or is he going to get any more Floowandeereze monsters? Oh, gets an Eaglin. He already had an Eaglin banished, so nothing too crazy there.
Oh, the other one was just a drawn Lockbird. We got the Camellia summon. Camellia has going to go for the effect. Sending the Secret Tree.
It's Eagle in your hand, right?
And that's going to be able to add Naturia Blessing.
This is an interesting position to be in. You know, you have the Blessing. You can summon the Blessing. You can get perhaps the Mole Cricket with the Blessing.
Now he's going to use the Mole Cricket to normally tribute itself off to summon 2 monsters from the deck since Jacob has the highest attack monster, but since the Camellia is on the field, he'll be able to send the top 2 cards from the deck to the graveyard instead.
That's probably going to lead to a Sunflower, perhaps.
Ooh, Grave of the Ancient Organism. I love that card. Really powerful and definitely good against Floowandeereze. So I would say he knew what he was playing against going into this match.
Thinking I want to grab.
Now, are we going to see the effect of Snowl? I mean, we still have to account for that card.
Eagle banished, rebanished.
Really considering his decision here. I mean, you know, it's a make or break whether you play an additional game or you go straight to the finals.
Yeah, but you got to make a play. I know you got a little extra time on the clock because it isn't the semifinals, but you have to make a play. You got to keep the pace up. You're going to be summoning 2 monsters from the deck.
You definitely don't want to, you know, get into a slow play at this point of the game.
Indeed, you do not. But this is probably the most important decision of his tournament life so far.
We're going to see a Mole Cricket and another Camellia, or are we going to see the Sunflower?
Yeah, I would be shocked if there's not a slow play warning after this play, but maybe not.
The
Judges
Sunflower
seem to be okay with the pace of play here. They have not. I don't think they've ever interjected with the slow play warning at any point. Yep, Sunflower and Camellia coming out.
That makes it a lot safer. But the Sunflower only has 1 monster negate attached to that because the Camellia already used her effect.
And it looks like he might be synchroing it away. Charge Warrior trying to draw into another card.
I believe it is going through. He has to cut the deck.
Looked like a Runick Fountain. It was really quick, though. I'm not quite certain.
We could continue to synchro here.
He needs to play a little bit faster, though. I know it's complicated and, you know, it's a lot on the line, but you got to keep your pace of play up. This tournament's been about, 5 minutes, but only a couple. He only had 2 cards at the start of it. Not many actions taking place. You got to keep your pace of play up. Now he's going to synchro for Baron de Fleur.
Use Baron to pop the unexplored winds.
So,
And destroy the unexplored winds. Okay, that does make it a little bit safer if he passes turn.
this top deck of the Naturia Camellia really getting him back into this game.
I believe the Baron is also stronger than Snout, but there is no battle phase.
That is the downside of playing the Runick cards. You do not get your battle phase. Jacob taking a second to make sure he knows what the Mole Cricket does once again.
At least we don't have to worry about the Baron all of a sudden getting tributed off or a tribute summon for a Winged Beast.
The goal of that turn was to deal with the map and the unexplored winds, and he was able to achieve that. Now, Jacob's drawing to 2 cards in hand. We knew one was Floowandeereze and Eaglin, so Chainlink 1 Eaglin, so now he can go Chainlink 2 Stree. I imagine you usually want to save your, you don't want to use all your Floowandeereze returning to your hand at once. You want to be able to save them so you can keep chain blocking your effects to protect you from Ash Blossom. Even though it wouldn't happen here in this particular scenario, it's just a good way to keep on playing. But yeah, since it's not the case, he's going to go ahead and add both to his hand, it looks like. But maybe not. Maybe he's just doing just Eaglin. Yep, see, there's no point to it.
It's really just better for protection. It's just good to keep that habit.
Definitely agree. This is going to prompt Jesse to use Mulcrate, especially when you're facing... Oh, he has the Baron, so you
Yeah.
definitely want to chain block your effects as best as you can. By chain block, I mean you're just going to have something else on Chainlink 2, then the effect on Chainlink 1 will be the one you're kind of hiding from Baron being able to negate.
Yes. Now, I believe because he controls the Baron, I believe Baron has the highest attack points on the field. I think Street's only 29?
Or Snell?
Yeah,
I don't think it's 33, so I think he'll be only summoning one Naturia monster. I think he might only have one Naturia monster left in his deck, honestly. He's gone through a ton of them so far.
Does he even have any other monster left?
One more Camellia.
Camellia can't special summon from the graveyard, but it does require the opponent to summon a monster. So
Now the Eaglin is going to resolve to add to the hand, and the other Eaglin's effect will finish to add Impin, and then he can normal summon a monster, so he's going to treat both for Impin. But now the Impin's on the field in attack mode, so Baron's effect will no longer be able to negate anything.
great way to lock it out.
Smart plays from Jacob.
I believe you can even attack it into it now because of the damage effect from Impin being able to... believe it's cutting it by half.
Yep, Impin, really strong card. Yeah, just even taking a second to make sure you're like, oh no, this destroys my plans this game.
And not only that, the Mole Cricket's going to have a very difficult time coming back without an extract deck on the other side.
Yep, that's the best part of Floowandeereze is people are prepared for Kashtira. You can catch them by surprise with this kind of underlying strategy. Rogue, if you will.
That Camilla, I don't think is going to get back very much. Unless there's a Sunflower, but... That Camilla, was it special summoned onto the field?
I think it was. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he special summoned... Yeah, it was special summoned with the Mole Cricket, so it has no effect.
Oh, that's shutting down both monsters.
Yep, and now Robina is going to be summoned at the resolution of Impin. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 is going to be Stree to go to the hand. Going to take him in to reach Stree, just banishes a card from either player's graveyard and allows you to normal summon afterwards. He'll be able to summon the Stree, banish one of his Floowandeereze spells or traps from the graveyard if he so chooses. He's going to go for Impin, and this is why I love Floowandeereze and Toucan, because outside of Eaglin, it's the only way you can access Impin, especially if it's a spent one that already ended up in the graveyard, because you can banish it with Stree and then add it back with Toucan, which we saw him do here. So he's going to tribute off the Toucan and the Robina for another copy of Impin.
And Impin's going to activate again.
Chainlink 1, Impin. Chainlink 2, Toucan. Toucan returns to the hand. Impin adds a Floowandeereze spell or trap. And this game is looking all but over here for Jesse. And we might be seeing a game number 3 before we go into the finals. So he plays 2 copies of the Unexplored Winds. I was wondering why he didn't go for one of those spells, because normally you only see 1 copy. But it's because he knew he had another one he can add with the second Impin he summoned this turn.
And by leaving it on the field, that's going to basically threaten every single card once again. And we got a triple tactics thrust. That's going to let him, because the opposing player does control monsters, you're going to be able to add the card straight to hand. It's going to be a triple tactics talent. I think we're just going to see it played right away.
Yep, maybe just take the Baron. Yeah, just end this game as fast as you can. Let's go to game number 3. Baron effect can destroy that spell or trap card that Jesse has set.
Yep, targeting the face down.
Yeah, Floowandeereze Impin only stops your opponent's monsters. Yep. Yep, Jesse's seen enough, and Jacob's going to bounce back. It looked like he wasn't going to be able to do too much, but literally it was that Featherstorm. That Harvey's Featherstorm kept him in the game from that first turn. All he needed was to buy enough time to get to that top deck Rubina.
Yep.
And he was able to jump right back in. And Jacob really showing the deck is still quite strong. You just have to get to Robina. If you don't draw that silly little bird, it's tough for you to get the win. But when you do, it's a snowball effect. You can really just continue these awesome tribute summons. Impin is a really strong effect, especially when you're like this. You're tribute summoning into an established board already with a bunch of monsters in attack mode. You just catch them off guard. They're now rendered useless almost.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised, but I was like, maybe there's a chance that the Sunflower can come up. Maybe even though you're going to have to use multiple negations, at least you'll be able to negate 3 effects, but that did not happen. So we're going to have to be extra careful when we special summon monsters now, and maybe you want to leave some in defense just so that if the Impin does land on the field, you still have your effects available.
We did get an update on the other semifinal match that's going on. They are still in game 1, I believe.
Game 1?
That's what I heard. The score was still 0-0, but we'll have to see if one of these players is going to be able to face off against the winner of this match. We still don't have one finalist yet for the finals. It's pretty exciting. I mean, this format's really wide open. The matches are back and forth and take a lot of skill to really achieve success in this day and age. Look, like you see, it looks like...
Is that Big Eye?
It's Shangri-Ira, I believe. And Birth on Shuping's field.
I think I see a Big Eye on Polly's
on
side.
Polly's. Oh, I see. I was looking at Shuping's field.
Big Eye trading card game. When we back in the Dragon Ruler days where we just Big Eye, the Big Eye,
the Big Eye.
Big Eye.
Yeah, the first one to summon Big Eye is the one in trouble usually. Don't ever leave. And also you can just Crimson Blade her over Big Eye, but don't get me started talking about the Dragon Rulers. I'm a big fan of that format. But it definitely looks like Polly is taking control of this game. Ooh, he's going to use enemy controller to tribute off that Big Eye to take Shuping's or Rise Hard. It looks like Polly's going to lock that game up if I had to guess, just based on that quick look in. Now coming back to our feature match, Jacob with Floowandeereze is trying to find a way to win, going second here in game number 3.
That takes a little bit of a breather right there.
It's been a long weekend. I mean, this is round, 17 in total? What time is it? It's super late. I know we're over here on the West Coast, so I can only imagine the East Coast. Yeah, it's already midnight over on the East Coast. We're sitting at like around 9:30 here on California time. But it is not time to quit dueling just yet. We are not going home until we crown a champion for the 250th YCS. And it could be one of these two players right here. But imagine if Floowandeereze won the tournament. How would that turn the whole format up on its head?
I would be super surprised. I don't know. Like, there's like, the popularity of Kashtira, and then there's Floowandeereze. I mean, bringing Floowandeereze back is such a good thing. Like, it reminds me of like everything that was impacted by the FNL list, like Sprite, Tearlaments, and then Floowandeereze, and they're all making it the top cut.
Yeah, they're still solid decks, just maybe a little less power, but still really strong. And you just have to find new ways to play them and adapt. And we even saw the Tearlaments make top 16 or no, top 32 maybe. I think they might have lost in top 32, but y'all had that top 64 feature match, and that was awesome to see Rukalos touching down again. One of my favorite cards, Kaleido Heart, always powerful.
Yes, and that's why if you stay passionate with your deck, you play into whatever that's available. You learn what your opponents can do, and you adjust your deck to adapt to the current strategy. And maybe you'll find your way to play through. Especially if your previous deck was the most heavily targeted deck, the grip might loosen up because of an FNL list.
Indeed. Now it looks like they are side decks, shuffled up. They've cut each other's decks. It is the semifinals. We're finally here. It's going to be the last game of this match. It's game number 3. One of these players will make it to the finals. The other one still going to get some awesome prizes, but not going to have a chance to walk away with that awesome trophy.
Okay, with 19 minutes on the clock, here we go.
I can only assume Jesse's going to first says good luck before game number 3. He's all about having fun, respecting the game as well, which I can only appreciate as another player who immensely loves the game. All right, let's see what he has in his opening hand. What does he start with? It's going to be a Runick spell, and now that's going to special summon maybe a Hugin. Is it going to be a Hugin discarding an Aturia Sacred Tree?
That is their favorite opening, after all.
It happens all the time.
We've seen it many, many times on the feature match, but this time not so much. But it's not a bad card to throw away either.
Ooh, but Infinite Impermanence shutting down the Hugin from adding Runick Fountain. This could be detrimental if Jesse doesn't have any sort of follow-up. Because now he's invested 2 cards. He does have a Camellia, so he has both sides of the deck. That's the big thing about Naturia Runick, because you want to make sure you draw a combination of Runick cards with Naturia cards. If you draw too much of one side, it won't really work as well as your deck is designed to, but when you draw both sides of the engine together, it's fantastic.
Camilla is now going to... Are we waiting for a response? There might be something else. As no cards have been sent to the graveyard yet, we're still in this chain. There's Ash Blossom, okay.
Besides the Ash the Camilla, doesn't want to send the graveyard. Oh, it looks like the other match did finish, and it looks like Polly was the winner. Polly defeats Shuping, and now Polly is in the finals. He 2-0'd Shuping and is in the finals of the 250th YCS. Polly's an awesome guy. I can't wait to see which one of these players he's going to be facing off against. Will it be Floowandeereze or Naturia Runick?
Both of these are going to be difficult matchups for Polly.
Yeah, both looking good against Kashtira, but Polly's the best Kashtira player in the room this weekend. At the end of the day, even if he doesn't walk away with the title, he's walking away with the top-ranked Kashtira player.
Yes. And we are still waiting for this particular game state to move on.
Looks like he's going to synchro summon with Hugin and Camellia for maybe a Stardust Charge Warrior to try and draw into something huge here.
This is going to increase his hand to 3 cards. I mean, every card counts, so...
Ooh, looks like he drew Runick Tip. That's a good one. If he has another Runick spell in his hand, he'll be able to add Runick Fountain, and that will let him go into drawing 3 more cards. Jacob already had to use 2 cards from his hand, so he's only sitting on 3. So if Jesse is able to continue past this, it would be huge. The top,
Ooh,
that's a good card to hit.
Exactly. Oh, my.
Now Jesse's activating the Runick Fountain. I can only imagine he has another Runick Quick Play that he's going to activate next.
And he's using the summon effect for Flashing Fire, and that is going to do it to re-enable the entire deck right now. This play
Really just showing the power of the Cherry Runick deck to play through those disruptions from the hand on Jacob's side. And now he returns 3 to draw 3 fresh cards. And if he draws something like Naturia Blessing, he is in good shape. Using every card in his hand that he drew on this first turn to continue his plays, including the top deck from the Charge Warrior.
Yeah, once again, every card counts, and Jacob does not have... Well, it can't activate another Ash Blossom. The only way that could have been disrupted would be like something like a Ghost Bell, or maybe even a Ghost Ogre.
I use Ghost Ogre and Magic Duel, but it doesn't really work against the Runick Fountain because they always get the Hugin out.
Yes.
They can protect it from that Ghost Ogre, but I definitely am a fan of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit.
In that particular case, because the hand size was a little bit low, there's a chance that maybe there wasn't enough, but we're going to pass turn on 1 card set. Is that going to be a super impactful card?
Yeah, I mean, he still needed to draw into something good here off this Runick Fountain. Maybe more Runick spells that he'll be able to use from his hand to disrupt Jacob during his turn. But now the pressure's back onto Jacob. He needs to have these Floowandeereze monsters to even be able to get his strategy online. And that's something we've seen him struggle with in these feature matches.
That was only 1 card set. I think it seems like there is going to be something.
Slumber.
Targeting the Jerry. Or the Gary.
And it's going to banish the top 3. Ooh, no Floowandeereze monsters. Now Fountain for 2.
Perhaps the cards he had in his hand wasn't going to be enough, so he wants to dig a little bit further. It's just to make more cards online.
Look for the effect negation Flashing Fire, right?
Flashing Fire or perhaps a Tip. But Flashing Fire is going to be a lot less effective against Floowandeereze because it does need to destroy special summon monster. So perhaps the Freezing Curses.
Freezing Curses is the one I was
looking for.
Yeah.
Yes, the Freezing Curses.
The one that negates the monster effect.
Very important.
And now he's going to summon the Camellia with Naturia Blessing to send Sacred Tree.
And we have the Mole Cricket.
Now he looks like he's using the Mole Cricket effect. Instead of tributing, he's going to be able to send...
Wow.
I don't know if that's bad, right?
That's bad, but I think the thing that he was looking for was the Sunflower.
And yep, he does get the Sunflower from the deck, so he's going to have some interruption. A couple of chances to stop Jacob in his tracks.
Now, at this moment, there are no banished Floowandeereze monsters, so the Sunflower could get a direct negate on the monster that is just being summoned. But it is only going to be 1 negate.
No, but the Naturia Blessing lets him synchro summon right after it activates, I believe. And that's going to be a Baron. Jacob's sitting on 4 cards in hand. Oh, did he pass? Is this just Jesse's turn?
Yeah, I think... Did he pass somewhere along the lines?
I feel like this is Jesse's turn now, because he used the Baron to destroy the Runick, right? Maybe we missed a pass from Jacob, and this is all happening during Jesse's turn, which makes a lot more sense. Okay, so it is Jesse's turn.
Yeah,
we have no player audio in our ear right now, so we have no idea what's going on between the two. But yeah, unfortunately, Jacob didn't have any Floowandeereze monsters, and now we've just moved on.
I feel like it happened again. A past turn.
He just
no cards played.
He cannot draw Robina.
I guess
Robina. But Jesse can't have a battle phase since all these Runick cards are being activated.
But this is the perfect opportunity to just put everything on the field.
Yeah, just...
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the golden droplets?
Okay, so the Gary can't be destroyed by card effects, so the Baron couldn't destroy it, so he can't activate the next Runick spell. So he's going to put that Runick spell back in his hand.
Okay.
He's going to get a warning for that one.
For this exact one, I'm not too sure.
I don't know if he's going to be able to actually get rid of that monster that's in the extra monster if he really wants to use that as the only way to continue play.
Yeah, 3 Camillas in the graveyard. But, I mean, he's still in pretty good shape, even though he doesn't have his battle phase.
If there's a way to blessing one of the Camilla back, that's going to make it very difficult for Jacob to even start the turn without something like an evenly matched. And even then, there's still a Baron on the field, so everything's really layered up to protect this field.
Yeah, it looks like he did receive a warning, so they're just making sure he doesn't have any previous warnings. The head judge, I don't know, maybe he's preoccupied at a different table that has a tournament still going on and here at the YCS at 9:30 at night, but it's going to take a minute to get this appeal for some reason. There's not too much else going on here in this room, so I feel like we should just have the head judge over here on the stage. This is the only Yu-Gi-Oh match going on in the entire building, but our judge is back as quickly as he can be with the assessment.
Is it going to be a warning?
Yep. I mean, it's a PE minor, but he doesn't have any other previous ones, so they don't have to upgrade it.
Okay, that's a very safe thing for Jesse.
Can I have water? Because I'm on medication.
I believe there's other things being addressed right now.
Yeah, it sounds like he's a little dehydrated. It's late. We've all been here for quite some time.
Many, many hours.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
I believe we're still paused in play at the moment.
Low blood sugar, so I take medication for it and I get really shaky.
Yep, we're just taking a moment with the judges, and then we're going to jump back into this game. We're mere moments away from this match finishing to where we're going to have one of these players face off against Paulie. I mean, Paulie won a remote duel YCS, so I know he wants that in-person YCS win as well, and not just any in-person YCS, the 250th. And he's playing the Kashtira deck, which everyone thought going into this weekend was going to be the one that is going to win it all. He has a lot of cool tech cards in his wear. I'm not going to talk about it because I want you to see. We saw it kind of when we checked in. That enemy controller, left, right, A, B, enter the code. That's one of my favorite tech cards. It's a Kaiba card, so it's awesome to see making. It's one of those cards that falls in and out of favor throughout the years. I mean, it came out back in the day in Ancient Sanctuary, a million years ago, it feels like.
It's one of my favorite quick play spells as well. And Paulie will basically be playing either against Floowandeereze or going to be playing against Runick, Naturia. And looking into this, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle.
I mean, it's a gauntlet. It's an endurance test. I mean, this tournament's long. 18 rounds. It's been 2 really long days, and now we're finally here at the finish line. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Kashtira walked away with it all. I mean, going into the event, I thought maybe Adventure Sprite was going to be the one that won. It's like such a consistent deck. I like what it does. But, I mean, when we saw the match with Jesse Cotton, even though the Adventure Sprite deck opened up with the ideal hand, just was shut down by the counter cards that Jesse was able to access, like Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, and then Dark Ruler No More.
Yep.
Maybe people having Sprite on the radar knew to include stuff like Dark Ruler No More.
I mean, it's because of the previous YCS with the finalists both being playing the deck. Then they put the target on their back, and perhaps people adjusted their deck to counter those strategies. And then Kashtira maybe loosened the grip against Kashtira, and we saw a lot more Kashtira over this weekend.
That's right. Let's go ahead and take a moment to look at our top 4 bracket. On the other side, we saw Paulie taking on Shuping. Paulie being able to 2-0 Shuping after Shuping was able to defeat that Rika Son of Avalon player. How was that match? Seemed like it was a pretty long one, pretty crazy.
That one was a very crazy match, especially when we saw that, we thought that, the Runick strategy doesn't really synergize very well with Kashtira, but then Shunping found a way to just get all the resources back. Oh, if you answer to my Arise Heart and you put it off the field, I reattach all of my Runick spells. They're going back to the graveyard, and now my Fountain is live, and I get to draw more cards, keeping myself alive. I don't need the battle phase, and I get to have the option of either choose to deck you out, or I get to just find an open for attacking. I thought that match was insanely, very, very smart.
Yeah, I hadn't seen Runick Kashtira really around at all, but I think I was listening to you guys as you were commentating that match, and I think you touched on something that I really liked, because you think, oh, it's kind of a nombo, like you want your Runick spells in the graveyard, Arise Heart banishes them all, but then we start see Shoot Ping attaching all those Runick spells underneath the Arise Heart to when it finally leaves, they go back into the graveyard to give you draws afterwards, which is really neat.
I think he just kept on playing with the same cards over and over, because Arise Heart kept on reattaching everything. The Theosis went off multiple times, although it looked like it was only a short couple of turns, but that Arise Heart was on overdrive. Just so many cards constantly being reattached. I think I want to try that out myself just to see
this
how
looks like fun.
It looked like it was very fun. And like normally it seemed a little bit more passive when it comes to Arise Heart, like, oh, you gotta wait for your opponent to perhaps get something banished because you're waiting to get more materials. But with the Runick stuff in there, you get to proactively activate cards and then get things attached, and you don't even have to commit onto the field. You don't have to worry about cards like evenly. Yeah, sure, you might lose a couple of cards here and there, but you get to hold on to a lot of your resources. And even if you let the Arise Heart perhaps get banished by it, you still have the Runick Fountain. That means you're still in the game. You still get to play cards, and it's just so strange to see both of those together.
Yeah, it's just like super control deck. Like you normally think Kashtira, they all have huge attacks. You can go to the battle phase, wipe the opponent out, but no, you can just control the game completely down with the Arise Heart plus the Runick spells. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to take down Pauly, who Pauly had a more of like a traditional Kashtira deck. It looks pretty similar to something like Jesse Cotton used as well, because you see those 5-pot cards, the 2 Pot of Desires and the 3 Pot of Prosperities. Meaning, like, as long as you're able to dissolve a pot, you're going to be able to probably have a playable hand. I mean, you just need one card to really get things started. Even if it's just a Fenrir, to grab another Fenrir or a Rise Heart, or just, obviously Unicorn, the best starter. I know you're a Kashtira player. Is that what you would have brought this weekend if you were competing? Would you have brought Kashtira?
Yes, I would have brought Kashtira.
You didn't have to think about it.
I didn't have to think about it. I've been talking about it way too much, even before the release of Kashtira, and I bet I annoyed a lot of my friends, and that was kind of the running joke a little bit. And yes, I do love the deck a lot, and seeing it in the finals does make me a little bit happy. I'm not going to hold that back.
It was kind of anticipated. Like, if it didn't make the finals, that there was something wrong. But speaking of the finals, let's talk about what these players are playing for. Pauly has already made it this far, so he could walk away with this first place prize list. First up, they will get an ultra rare copy of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series prize card, Another Verse Dragon. It looks beautiful. We've been showing it off in the display case here this weekend. You also get the 250th Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series trophy that we've seen on stream. It looks beautiful with the Another Verse etched in and the 250th logo slapped on there. And you also get a 250th YCS branded premium messenger bag. That's something I want. Back when I won my YCS, I never got a cool messenger bag. I got some awesome stuff, but I really want that messenger bag. You also get a Steam Deck. This is kind of a new prize. It used to be a Nintendo Switch, now upgraded to a Steam Deck. I also would love to have one of those. And you get an invite to and VIP status at the next World Championship Qualifier Tournament. And that's coming up this year. You want to make sure you have a chance to get to that World Championship. Going to be held later on as well. And of course, last but not least, the 250th Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series Top Cut Game Mat. Which looks, we already talked about how you really want one. It looks so beautiful.
Yes, I really do want one. It's different from the ones from the previous YCSs. And, well, I don't know what I can say about that, but these are the players that are going to get it. I'm going to be pretty jealous about what they got.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the thing when you're commentating. You're like, oh, that could be me. But you know what? I'm happy to be here and being able to watch so many different games. We've seen so many different decks throughout the weekend. Even though Kashtira seems to be a pretty dominating force, there's a lot of strategies that you can tech out and find ways to counteract that Kashtira strategy and still find success in a sea of Kashtiras with the strategy that you prefer. We've seen Mathmex, Floowandeereze, Naturia, Runick, all sorts of different decks, and now it looks like we're finally going to jump back into the game. We had the situation resolved, and now it is Jesse's turn to continue. Going to set one card face down. Now he's going to use that Baron effect.
And he attempted to use Baron's effect on the Gary, so he can't pop his own card.
Oh, does Gary protect all your cards from being destroyed by card effect?
No, it's just that he already activated the card. He can't use the Baron again.
Oh, I see. Oh, he just can't be destroyed, but the Baron still uses the effect.
Well, that gives me a good idea of what that card can be.
Probably a Sacred Tree.
Yep. But, the Sacred Tree, I believe all 3 Camillas are still in the graveyard, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that is true. And there, 1, 2, 3, it looks like. And now Runick Tip is going to come down to be able to add a Runick spell from Jesse's deck to the hand.
Now, was there any additional spells already in the graveyard? We're going to find out very soon, I suppose. And we're going to banish the top card. Is a triple tactic thrust. Honestly, I thought that more people would be playing this card. It was really, really popular upon the release of the triple tactic thrust. Jesse, oh, I believe we're checking on a card text. Jesse contemplating what he's going to do with the card in hand here. Yes, we're going to confirm that there are 3 Camellias in the graveyard once again.
And finally, Jesse's turn has ended here, and he's passed to Jacob.
All right, are we going to see a bird? Are we going to see the bird? Now, this time around, there is no Naturia Beast, so there is perhaps an opening here.
No Beast has the Sunflower. Baron still has the Negate, I believe.
Yes, and Sunflower can only just do 1 effect negation this time.
All right, so he's going to lead with Toucan. Does he have anything banished? He's going to go after the map.
Oh, that's the...
or sorry, not map. Advent of Adventure.
There is a response. He's holding the cards. We're going to tribute
for the Sunflower.
Oh, no, it's just Mole Cricket.
Mole Cricket.
But what are you going to summon with that Mole Cricket? Another Mole Cricket.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Looks like it is.
Well, it's just any Miniaturia monsters, I suppose. That's why you don't need to run so many different names, which is very convenient.
Yeah, sending those 2 Camellias from the top of his deck to the graveyard definitely hurt, because he would have wanted to summon that here.
Yeah, that would provide you with an additional negation with that Sunflower, but now that Sunflower has to tribute itself and the Mole Cricket to get the 1 monster negation, which is a kind of a expensive trade.
Might have been worth to do it on the Toucan.
I mean, we did get back Advent of Adventure. If there's more cards to be played, that could just open the game state wide open. Battle phase? We're going to attack with the Toucan into the Mole Cricket. That turns off the Sunflower. I think the Naturia lineup might be running out of gas.
I don't know. I'm running out of gas. I'm on empty right now. It is late, but I'm still excited to see. Yeah, now he's going to activate the Advent Adventure. I think Jesse also might. Oh, no,
Ash
he has
Blossom.
Ash. He has the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
Ash
That's huge.
That just got rid of the field once again.
Jacob shuffling between the few cards he has in hand to think about his next play. Slowly considering his next option. Pondering if this is going to be enough. Going to go for Infinite Impermanence on Baron de Fleur.
Is there a field spell plus another Floowandeereze monster?
Does have at least 3 cards left. Triple Tactic Talent.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Aiming to draw cards?
I'm assuming he has to. He's already used his normal summon, so he definitely needs to get to the map. I see a Robina, and I didn't see the second card he drew.
Will this be enough?
Triple Tactics Thrust.
Ooh.
This is huge. He's going to be able to grab any normal spell or trap from his deck.
Unfortunately, not a field spell, but he could grab a Terraforming.
That's a good normal spell that gets you into a field spell.
If this is the thing grabbing Terraforming, I'm going to be very excited here.
Unless he banished off the top of the deck.
Oh,
nope.
it's still there.
Still there.
Oh. Oh, this is going to be huge. If this resolves, this is going to be huge.
And he adds Floowandeereze and
The magnificent map. Map has been activated. There's no response. The Baron, I believe, is negated.
Going to reveal Robina from the hand to
Banish.
What is it going to be? He already has a Toucan banish. Probably going to go for Eaglin. And there it is.
Eaglin has been banished. We get the summon Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 on Eaglin.
Does Jesse have any response? He has.
Oh, there is a response.
Freezing
That's
curses.
gonna cut off the next few normal summons because
That should be enough. That should be enough to do it here. Jesse's like, don't worry, I'm gonna tap. Banishes the top however many. Looks like he lost a Droll, a map, and I didn't see the other one, but he's gonna add those 2 Floowandeereze monsters, Toucan and Eaglin from the Banish Zone back to the hand.
Fountain's gonna activate, putting that Freezing Curse back to the bottom of the deck.
Gets him a fresh draw.
Oh, if the Baron turns back online, that's going to be a bit of an issue. Okay, so we're going to see the Unexplored Winds activated.
This could be useful. He's going to maybe be able to swap out some of the... Because he did just add 2 Floowandeereze monsters that he can't summon back to his hand, and now he can return those to the deck to try and draw some fresh cards.
And we are going to see the Toucan, just one. Bottom of the deck.
He draws 1.
I don't think there's any more additional normal summons that you can do with the turn. So we're going to be passing turn. Jesse Flores drawing for turn.
Still can't attack, but it's going to activate Naturia Blessing.
The Camellia is back. It's the only Camellia.
That's going to send Sacred Tree, so he's able to add another copy of Blessing from the deck to the hand. I believe I can't see it, but I can only assume that is what he's adding.
And it's going to be Ash Blossom. On the Sacred Tree?
Okay, that's fine. Yep, he asked the Sacred Tree, not a big deal.
So the Sunflower now definitely can...
Sends 2 top to the deck to the graveyard, and they're both Runick spells.
Oh, boy. That is
Oh, so he used the Sunflower to stop the
Sunflower.
Ash Blossom.
Yes, there we go. And I guess we're going to continue. And,
Without being able to hear the player audio, we can only guess what's kind of happening sometimes.
well, based off of the action.
Yeah, exactly.
And we get the...
Baron's going to destroy the map.
Well, at least the normal summon is now much safer. There's still one more monster effect negation available on this current turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, but don't forget, we do have the tuner now. But it's a 4 and a 4. That leads into an 8.
I just feel like I'm sitting in rush hour traffic and we're gridlocked and nothing is going forward. Proceed. It looks like an Exceed summon for Dugaris. So he's going to be able to detach 2 to special summon back Camellia, looks like.
And are we going into a Synchro?
Coral
Dragon.
Coral Dragon is a strong one. He's going to discard a otherwise useless call by the grave, essentially. And taking out the Unexplored Winds, not something you want to leave face up on a Floowandeereze field.
Well, that was a special summon effect. What's the thing that lock you out of when it comes to special summoning from the graveyard? Do you lose your next main phase?
I have no idea, but that sounds right.
Yeah, when you double the damage, you don't get the battle phase. When you do the drawing, you don't get the draw in the next draw phase. So when you special summon from the graveyard, I believe you also lose your main phase.
Is that a flashing fire?
Well, just remember to enter the battle phase at this point. Otherwise, you're going to lose your main phase and battle phase going straight to the end phase next turn.
Wasn't that on the... It was last turn.
I believe they're...
Yeah, he used the fountain during Jacob's turn to draw 1. And now this is a new turn. It's his turn, and now he can use it to draw 3.
I mean, once the deck thins out with once a Runick deck thins out that much, you're basically going to be cycling the same cards over and over and over again. You're going to be able to draw the same utility cards. You're going to just keep yourself in the game, basically never be able to deck out.
Yep, and now we're going to see a Synchro Summon for Chang Ying. And now we saw how he used the Chang Ying so successfully before. You're able to activate a Runick spell. And also, I want to go back to that match. When he activated the Runick Slumber in his previous game, he didn't target his own Chang Ying. He targeted one of his opponent's monsters, so that's why he was still able to attack. And he was already in the battle phase. I think I kind of misspoke there because we can't really tell when we have to guess where they're pointing and everything. But definitely didn't make a mistake in that previous game if you were there to watch that. And now he's going to summon Chang Ying, because anytime he uses a Runick spell, he can banish the cards off the top of the deck, and that'll trigger Chang Ying's effect to banish a card from the field and graveyard of the opponent.
We're going to use this Freezing Curse to summon out
Munin.
Targeting protection as well as life gain during the end phase.
All right, gonna go to normal summon Floowandeereze and Eaglin. That's gonna be met by Ash Blossom, so he's not gonna be able to normal summon after that.
Just
and pass from
to take
Jacob.
flight.
This game has just been a locked down from Jesse's side.
Draw phase, standby phase.
Draw phase, standby phase, but he did use the effect. I don't think he has a main phase here.
Or a battle phase.
Did he activate a
Yes.
Runick card during the opponent?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, he probably went to battle phase on the previous turn, so he might have the battle phase this turn.
It's like like if he didn't have the battle phase, that would just pass turn right back.
That would be so funny. But yeah, I do think, yeah, this turn his battle phase is back.
I'm going to assume that we are in the battle phase. I don't think, because if you actually choose not to go into the battle phase, you go straight to end phase.
Yeah, you can't just go to main phase 2 there.
So you don't have to declare that you're skipping, that you're entering the battle phase.
Oh, the phase skipping mattering a lot. Runick's phase skipping. We also have Daguerre's phase skipping.
That's what I'm asking. So you no longer have to declare.
We have some level of activation here.
So that's what I'm saying. You don't have to say battle phase and then.
Looks like they are trying to just discuss what phases they're in.
This is why sometimes you just have to be extra clear. Do your due diligence. So
It's like this is round 17. It's been round 17, what feels like for a few years now, but we're trying to hang in there in the semifinals to make it to the end of this tournament. Now, Natria Blessing's a quick play, so he's going to be able to activate it from the hand to special summon a Natria monster from the graveyard.
It goes
I
through.
don't. What does Jacob? Does Jacob have a response? Is there something
Yeah.
he can do in response to Blessing? I don't know what he's considering. It looks like he's just complaining. Like, I only have Robina in England. Yeah, I know. You really have no interactions. I don't know why there's so much time being wasted on you to respond here. Like, you see he's shaking his head. But let's focus on the game. Like,
I want to see some damage happen here.
I don't think it's going to happen. Unless if he's in the battle phase, then yeah, he will be able to do some damage. Banishing the 3 cards off the top of the deck is going to trigger that Chang Ying, so he's going to be able to banish a card from the graveyard and the opponent's monsters.
Just take away the Ash Blossom. You don't want to banish the birds for them. And the Eaglin gets banished, and it's technically banished by its own removal effect if it ever leaves the field face up.
I mean, I honestly, like, this should be game, right? Like, this is so much damage.
3,000, and every single card that has been banished is going to change the attack stat of that Chen Ying. It's going to reduce the other side by X amount of cards.
Does Jacob have Gores? He's like considering not taking this attack. What is
Battle Fader?
It could be Battle Fader, it could be Gores. He's just kind of sitting there stoic, like, all right, I have no cards. You have a full board. You are allowed to concede.
There it is.
I don't understand what was happening there. You are 100% allowed to concede in any match of Yu-Gi-Oh! There is no, you can't concede in the finals. You can't concede in the semifinals. You can 100% concede on stream. It doesn't make a difference, but Jacob refusing to do so until his life points were reduced to 0.
Maybe it's because his feature matches were so short. And